do what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
like there shouldn't be a defined, that's women's work, that's men's work.
I just think that it's women working.
Say to me, it's woman's work is just doing whatever I think needs to be done.
To me, it's very derogatory.
It's the job, and it's still the home stuff, unless you've got a really strong family. So, traditional woman's work, that's not me.
All work. Because I feel like all work is for everyone.
Any damn thing I want to do, I can do it. That's what that means to me. Okay. I consider most of the time when you hear the term, it's derogatory. Like, you know, my place is in the kitchen. No, my place is in the White House, and I may be there one day, okay? So I don't think there's such a thing as woman's work. I don't think there's such a thing as man's work either. I think there's work, and there's work each of us can do, is do we choose to do it?
A woman's work means getting done what she wants to get done. Not what she needs to get done or what society thinks she should be doing, but what does she want to do? That's what her work should be. Does she want to climb trees and chop down the tops and make kindling? Have at it. It's a really dangerous job. I wouldn't want it. But a woman's work is whatever she wants her work to be.
When I was growing up, my daddy had 3 girls and a boy. And he taught all of us that if we didn't get up early in the morning with our husbands and make breakfast for him, that we should not expect him home for dinner. That's how I was raised. My husband makes breakfast for me every morning now. That's how things have changed.
I don't think there's such a thing. I sit in a very unique seat, obviously, but when we talk about is that man's work or women's work, that to me doesn't mean anything, because particularly in the military, work is work. It doesn't matter, you know, what your gender is. We all have the same job. It doesn't matter if I'm a female pilot or it's a male pilot, or, you know, a crew chief is male or female. It doesn't matter. We all have the same job. So it's not a women's work, man's work kind of conversation to me. So that would never enter my mind. I will say, and then especially as being a single mom, that doesn't work with me either, because it's all my work.
It's very unfortunate that there's these classifications of who should best do things based on gender. I just cannot imagine that's the best way to run the world. Right. I also acknowledge it's largely many parts of the world, if not all, there's going to be those cases all the time.
Well, I don't like that term. So first of all, women's work is everything. I don't believe in that term. Okay. I also think it's great nowadays that there's more shared work even in the home. To me, that's a stereotype. That's a stereotype of women and their role. Right. And I think it's very important nowadays, and I think it's happening better, is that men and women both share work in the home.
Women's work. We do it all. I don't think there's anything that I don't do. You know, I mean, women's work should be, you just should feel confident that you are able, you can do whatever you choose. You can.
Women's work? Mm-hmm. If you can't notice the look on my face, it's like women's work. So, I don't think there's such thing as women's work. So I think that topic should just go into the trash bin.
My husband was ill for so long that I became everything.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was out cutting weeds down and putting them in the garbage, and I do the yard, and I do I do everything that needs to be done. I don't think there's women's work or man's work. And today I see men doing women's work, which pleases me to death.
I don't believe in that term at all.
That means you haven't defined it. It makes me feel like that. Ugh, I know. Yeah, women's work is like making sure that the food is prepped and cut, and making sure that the bathroom's clean, and making sure that your feet don't hurt at the end of the night, and making sure that the kids are taken care of, and appointments for kids, and just it absolutely blows my mind that it ever was acceptable for there to be, okay, I'm dead and I go to work and make all the money, and then I just get to come home and sit on my ass while you do everything else that you've already been doing all day. Like, I don't understand how that was ever a reasonable thing, but we are in a patriarchal society, so of course it was set up that way. I mean, if you were a dude, why would you not set it up that way? It's true.
Well, to me, it has a negative connotation for sure. I don't think that there should be anything designated as woman's work.
Whatever a woman determines to go and do and be and spend her time doing. I don't know if I like the term women's work because it has a fence around it. And I think I feel strongly that women have an innate ability to love and nurture. I've just seen it. It's a natural thing, and that's great. And I've seen some of the qualities that men seem to have, natural things, and they're great, and they should be built upon. And I think we all need to take responsibilities where we have our qualities and strengths. But a woman's work it's a pretty universal field. It's not a confined thing.
There's two sides to this, and I think that women's work in the stereotype, it tends to be that secretary position, and being a stay-at-home mom, and doing the dishes, cleaning the kitchen, mopping the floors, taking care of the house, taking care of your husband. I think that's what people tend to associate women's work. I think it's generally used as a derogatory term. But to me, I think that women can do absolutely anything men can do. And I don't mean to say that as every woman can do everything that every man can do. I know that that's not true, because every person can't do everything that every person can't do or can do. But I think that there's always a woman out there that can do it. And so I think that the term women's work, to me, should really just be work. And because I don't think that there should be a line there.
I don't know.
I love it.
Because I never knew that.
Okay.
You got to remember, I came up I was in the civil rights movement.
Okay.
I don't know if you know, I was running from axe handlers from Ku Klux Klan, and I was in college during that time when it was during the sit-ins. I was at Crest, a Woodworth. We had a Woodworth, and you couldn't sit at the counter, but I'm from the days. So I heard folks, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But I've been working in Utah for 53 years. And so I never stayed at home. I don't do home. I don't do women's work. I don't know what women's work is. Women work to me, I know, I never had the babies, all of the babies, and I don't know to me, all work is women's work. I always thought I could do whatever I wanted and had the ability to do. Not because I was a woman work, but if I wanted to do it, I could do it. You're a college graduate and you got to ask your husband, can you do this? Why you got that? You don't ask, you tell. They looked at me like, what is this ruthless, crazy woman? I would tell my husband. I didn't ask my husband. And they would be telling me I have to ask my husband if it's okay. Why? I mean, so I guess I don't know what women's work is.
Not much, because I don't think of much as women's work anymore. So, and I applied for one job in the juvenile court system that I didn't get. And the director, who I thought was a good friend of mine, had been my supervisor when I was in school, said, "Oh, but he's been there so long. I would have been a much better person in that particular job." Which I didn't say, but I, you know. So anyway, women's work, I just don't even think about it. And in fact, it sounds like a demeaning statement, I think, because there's not very much that is just women who are having babies.
Anything they want to do. Anything they want to do. Yeah, I don't think anybody should be held back, because I really think it's almost awful that they put female and male on an application.
Yeah.
See, that
Interesting.
That really, I don't like that, because you could have somebody that you would think was a man, or that, I mean, I guess their name has to be there, but maybe not even their name. When they're looking for qualifications,
Right.
why does any of that matter?
Right.
If they have the qualifications, and then of course they always do an interview, so I don't know, but I don't think it should be male or female, and I just feel like a woman can do anything she wants to do. And I know there are ceilings and things that you come up against, but just like every other woman in history, you just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep budding and budding and budding.
Women's work is men's work. There is no doubt. I don't think there's anything that defines work from if you're a woman doing the work, then it's women's work. If a man's doing it, it's man's work. But it's not, I don't think you can separate and say this career is only for women or this career is only for men. That doesn't exist anymore.
It's work that's done from a particular perspective that is more humble and more inclusive and more willing to take risks than work that is done by traditionally privileged populations, and this would be mostly white men that I would be speaking of. I do feel like work done by women, in my experience, and of course there are exceptions to this. I don't want to in any way essentialize that all women do stuff particularly well, but I do think women who understand purpose do approach our work as women and women's work with a perspective that is more inclusive of different voices and less focused on us being the center of attention.
There is no definition for women's work. I think it's just whatever you're interested and passionate in, and know you can give it 110%. I think that's the woman's work.
Yeah, woman's work. I think the best woman's work. Yeah, it's anything I do. It is everything from truck driving to selling real estate to running boards to there's no differentiation for me personally between women's work and men's work. I just don't see the difference.
Everything in the world. I just see women's work as making what needs to happen happen.
When somebody says women's work, I think that they think of housework and grocery shopping and, doing the schedules. And like, I do that in my house. Like, I'm the scheduler, and I admit that I'm better at that. I'm better at, I'm education mom, like I'm homework mom, and when I need Pete's help, but that I feel sort of in control of that. Like that's something that I'm good at. But can I cook a meal like Pete can? No. Can I do the dishes that fast? No, because it's just not, just like in sheer time thing, I think the women's work is better for Pete to do in our family. But I would say stereotypically women's work are more of those household duties, running the house, running around, keeping the schedule, planning the vacations. And that's why it's kind of hard sometimes to be a woman, because we are good at planning the vacations. We are good at all of that, but we also have a lot of things to give otherwise as well. So,
absolutely.
But I would say women who work and also do women's work are pretty amazing women. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Division of labor, right? Like talking about women's work. I think it's funny that we say that. We kind of had a conversation prior to you filming about how really the history of this town is always male-centered, right? Mm-hmm. And it's because they did something like be a mayor, or, you know, I chose out some street names. But behind that dude is all these women making it happen. They're the ones, the secretaries, right, are out making the phone calls. They're filing that paperwork. I mean, this man had a great idea and women made it happen. But whenever we say women's work, we think of cleaning and cooking and taking care of children and, you know, gardening and making sure we're dressed in our pretty dresses with a cute little drink for our husbands when they come home. And that's just not the case. Women's work.
Right.
Always behind the curtain of Oz.
Women's work, let's see. I am a very stubborn woman, to say the least. And if anybody knows me, then they know this, and that I don't stand for that. That's not something, like it's equal work, and especially in a marriage or a partnership, you are equal partners. You can expect I will go mow the lawn and you can cook, or we can switch it up. But the thing is, work is not male or female. Anybody can do anything. So